was making the GM hire, he said that you and him were talking about what you guys wanted in a GM and things. When it ultimately evolved to you being it, how excited were you for that role, and how much do you look forward to kind of putting your fingertips on it?
Yeah, well, it was definitely unexpected. It kind of happened naturally, I would say, but I'm excited to learn kind of a whole new part of college basketball. That's the biggest part of the excitement for me, I think. I'm in year 20 now, which is a little hard to believe. But doing the traditional coaching and recruiting and scouting, and I love doing it. I've done it a long time, but this is just such a new space. It's still some things that I've done a long time, which is regular recruiting, as we've done forever. But there's a lot of new challenges, and in terms of different relationships and exploring new spaces, if you will. So I'm excited about it, and also really appreciative of the opportunity.
You have a lot of familiarity with constructing rosters as an assistant coach, as a head coach. How does that help as a GM?
Yeah, well, obviously that's a big part of it. And we recruit as a staff. We have a ton of roster discussions. Obviously, everything is Coach Loucks' eventual call, as you know. But we try to spend a lot of time on that. So I spend a lot of time, whether it's on the road, on the phone, going to events, watching film, talking to scouts. So some of it's what I've been doing for a long time, but like I said, there's different elements, I think, now with the general manager job that obviously didn't even exist a couple of years ago, that are also a little different from the traditional recruiting situation.
Were other college GMs or head coaches maybe helpful in saying, hey, you need to be good at this, work on this? You have connections obviously across the landscape, but how did you kind of formulate your thoughts on what you want to do with this job?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it was just challenging myself to learn a new space. And I think that this is kind of where college athletics is going, if you will, in terms of now between coaching the team, signing the roster, you've got obviously the NIL space to deal with, and now to be able to sign a new team every year. And we hope a lot of guys stay, but realistically, you're rebuilding year after year after year now. Somebody's got to be managing that. And I know from experience, from being a head coach and even being an assistant, a traditional assistant, it's really hard to go to practice every day, watch every practice on film, do your individual meetings with players, do your scouts, and oh, by the way, try to recruit, build the roster, prepare for the portal. It is a full-time job. And, I jokingly told Coach Loucks when we decided to do it, originally I thought, all right, it's going to be about 50% traditional assistant and maybe 50% GM. We keep leaning more 60, 70, but it's a lot to do, but I'm really, really enjoying it. And like I said, just really excited about the opportunity to continue to learn and grow.
How cool is it that as you being a GM and an assistant coach that you kind of get to play both roles? Like when you're on the road recruiting a kid, you can still tell them you're going to coach them on the floor. Not a lot of GMs could probably do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really an advantage because I'm allowed to kind of scratch my basketball itch, if you will. Like Coach Loucks and the staff does an incredible job of letting me jump in practice and make points and teach and coach a little bit traditionally, give my opinion in meetings, but I'm also in and out. And they'll joke with me sometimes. I'll say, hey guys, now, have we covered that? And they're like, Fly, you were on the road. So it's great because there's some general managers that are working completely from the office. So the fact that I'm able to still go on the road, still do some traditional coaching. Obviously I'll help on the bench, help in games, but also be working full time on making sure that we're prepared for the portal, making sure that we're recruiting. And you guys know we're bringing multiple 27 prospects to campus as much as possible and working on even down to 28. So a lot going on, but it's fun for sure.
What has the interest from those groups, 27, 28, so on and so forth, been like for you guys?
Yeah, I think that, Coach Loucks has done a great job of prioritizing the South, and we'll build out. Now, obviously, we're going to recruit internationally. We're going to recruit where there are good players. But there's such a built-in advantage in the state of Florida and even in Georgia in the Atlanta area because everything's drivable. And so it just gives you an advantage where mom, dad, AAU coach, high school coach, they want to be a part of it. And so the state of Florida, at least in my career personally, has really built my career. It's Florida and Georgia has taken care of me, if you will. So to have both of those states specifically in our region really supporting Coach Loucks and supporting our program. As you guys know, we've had multiple visitors almost every weekend, and that's the biggest key is every kid's not gonna commit, at least on the first go around. We'll see down the road in the portal. But part of it's driving the Florida State brand, and part of it's making sure that people know, like, if there's a good player that's in the region, we're gonna try to go get them.
the passion throughout the staff. We talk, obviously, just always preaches relationships. You guys go through it in recruiting. Just how is that kind of environment festered between you guys, and how do you keep it going every day?
Yeah, well, I think, and obviously we're undefeated, right? So everybody's happy right now. But I've been on a lot of staffs, and I think when you've been a head coach, you always think, you know, hey, this is a great staff. Besides the staff I put together, you know, you always have a little bit of and I love the staff I had as a head coach, but I'm not saying this because, you know, Coach Loucks hired me or because we've got a long-term relationship, but he was very strategic in the way he put the staff together. And so there's not a lot of friction and a lot of bumping heads, if you will, because we're all at different points in our career. You know, Gerald Gillian's been a head coach and is going to be a head coach again. I've been a head coach. Coach Moran's been a head coach in the G League. You've got Chris Kent, who's going to be a future head coach. Derwin Kitchen, same thing, on down to our support staff. But we're all in different roles in terms of Coach Kent's running the player development, Coach Gillian the defense, Coach Moran the offense, I'm heading up the recruiting, but we all help each other, right? So there is no competitive, I signed this guy, you sign, like they all help me recruit. We're all recruiting together. And I think when a staff is functioning in the right way, I think it is about relationships. And Coach does a great job. He does this with the players and with the staff, and it sounds like a pretty easy rule, but just be a good person. Like, try to enjoy coming to work. One of our pillars is you got to have joy, man. Like, this thing's already really hard, as you guys know. It's very pressure filled. So if you're having issues amongst your own teammates and staff members, it makes it even more difficult. So we come to work every day, and even on the hard days, we really like being around each other as a staff. And I think that permeates both to the current players, but we've also had a lot of recruits and families say, everybody else recruiting us, it's just one member of the staff. With you guys, it's everybody.
What has it been like for you to get back here, be back here, and working with Luke, who I know you both have a great deal of mutual respect for one another?
Yeah, it's funny how life kind of works. You know, I never thought, at one point I thought, you know, I'd be a head coach the rest of my career. At one point I thought about, hey, maybe I'm going to go do something else. And it's really fun to reconnect, to be back in a place. You know, obviously I'm married with young kids now. But there's a lot of memories here and really of me growing up. I mean, I was here from 25 to 28. And so I think it's really a cool and unique experience that, because the administration brought back not just a former player, but then Coach went and hired multiple Florida State graduates or Florida State players or Florida State staff members. So we're able to honor Coach Hamilton's legacy at a really high level based on the respect between all of us. But we're also able to reconnect and we know each other. There are built-in relationships. So when we go into that office every day, I've known Gerald Gillian 10 plus years. You know, I've known Coach Loucks 15 years. So it's been, for me personally, it's been probably the most fun that I've had in my career to this point, because it's kind of a homecoming. I may be from Kentucky, but I think I'm 15 or 16 years in the state of Florida now. So I consider myself a Florida boy now, and super excited and grateful for the opportunity that Coach Loucks provided.